I am Shannon Weber with Hive, a hub of positive reproductive and sexual health. It's December 2015 here in Atlanta, Georgia at the not international, hello,
The National HIV Prevention Conference.
thank you. And I'm with the amazing
Anna Forbes.
and you are a consultant to the U.S. Women in PrEP Working Group. You have a long history of working on women in microbicides, women in HIV, and a tremendous advocate for women.
That pretty much sums it up, yes.
What a spark plug is and how you think that might be applicable to PrEP implementation for women.
Well, I think that the concept is applicable to any kind of community organizing at all on any topic. And that is just that I think of a spark plug as the person that you find who is so committed to something that she or he is not going to stop talking about it ever, and is very interested in motivating and very talented at motivating other people to get on board with the idea, to really sell the idea to other people and recruit them and create change, create momentum that causes change to happen. And I think that particularly for me in the field of HIV/AIDS, I've been very fortunate to work with people like that who have the ability to look toward the future, see something that we need urgently, like affordable antiretroviral drugs, like HIV prevention tools that women can use without their partner's consent or their partner's knowledge if necessary, anything along those lines, and to just sort of charismatically move people in the direction of doing what many other people may think is impossible. James Baldwin said once that people who think that something is impossible are often interrupted by people who are doing it.
Oh, I love that. And so this spark plug is kind of beyond a champion. It's somebody who's an actual change maker.
Yes.
And can see the vision and is going towards it regardless of the barriers that are in front of them.
And not disregarding the barriers, not being unrealistic about the barriers, but simply having a complete commitment to going over, under, around, or through the barriers in order to make something happen. I think that the AIDS movement and the women's movement to a large extent grew out of exactly that kind of motivation, that we looked at the situation, I remember in the early 1980s, and we simply said, we have to deal with this. We can't step away from it. We can't ignore it. We can't be afraid of it. We have to step in, start taking care of the folks who are sick and dying, start getting out in the streets and demanding services to help deal with this, start talking to our communities about how to prevent this. There just wasn't any alternative. And so we made change happen because change had to happen, and that's how every movement happens.
Talk to me about the Paper Dolls campaign. So this is a part of the female condom campaign.
Well, it was funded by the Universal Access to Female Condoms, which is a global female condom campaign. And what it was designed to do was to address the myth that women don't want female condoms and don't need female condoms. That's what we were hearing in a lot of developing countries. That's what we were hearing here in the US. That's what we were hearing in Europe. Oh, it's so big, it's so cumbersome, women won't want it, women don't like it, women won't use it. And I was asked to, well, I submitted a proposal when there was a bid out saying, help us figure out something that will blow up this myth. And so a friend of mine actually had suggested this idea in the past when I was working on microbicides. What would happen if you made these paper dolls out of paper or cardboard, and you took them out to as many people as you possibly could, and people wrote messages on them or decorated them or did whatever they wanted with them on a specific topic, in this case female condoms. And then you brought them all back together and you linked them, holding hands, and made great big huge garlands. So we decided to do that with paper dolls. We managed to get the paper doll campaign going in 26 countries in a period of 15 months. 60 NGOs in the 26 countries were distributing paper dolls, and it was a perfect tool for educating people because you have something in your hands that you're going out with. It looks silly, it looks unthreatening, it looks interesting, and people come over and say, what's this? And you describe it to them, and it gives you an opportunity to demonstrate the female condom, and then when you're done talking with them, you say, would you like to write something on this about how you feel about female condoms. What do you think about female condoms? And the overwhelming message that came back is, we like them, we want them, we need them, they should be in my community. One woman wrote, female condoms, where were you when my mother died? Where were you when my aunt died? I hope you will be there to help prevent my sister from dying. You know, it was just extraordinary in dozens of languages. And we asked the NGOs who were collecting them for us to translate the ones that were not in English into English, so we would have a recording of what the message was. 15,000 dolls displayed at the International AIDS Conference in 2012.
Wow.
Yep.
Tremendous.
It was.
And this is, you know, really before participatory art at these kind of conferences was really the thing as it is now. So it's so visionary and so inclusive.
Well, but we brought in all of the paper dolls from all across the world and displayed them. It was not, I mean, people were adding to the chains even at the conference, but there were just an enormous
So
display.
beautiful.
It was.
I have a question for you from the Hive team.
Yes.
The Hive team says, please ask Anna, what is in the way, or what's getting in the way of women's health, our access to women's health?
It's a very, very big question.
It is a big question.
Part of what's getting in the way is our demand, our lack of demand, and or part of what is keeping us from getting what we need is that we are not demanding it loudly enough, and we are not insisting on it, and we are not requiring it. Women's health has always been put on the back burner. I think that comes from, you know, eons and eons of women dying in childbirth and women dying from malnutrition and so forth because they gave food to their children rather than to themselves. We got hooked up into a system, a patriarchy, in which women's lives were devalued and in which women were socialized to believe that their health was secondary or tertiary and that the health of their family was primary. Now we know enough from the data that we can make a strong case for a woman's health being the strongest predictor of her family's health and well-being. The strongest predictor of a child in countries that are heavily impacted by HIV being able to grow up and be uninfected is whether or not his mother is still alive. His mother is the strongest force to protect him or her and make it possible for that person to grow up. So now we as women have to take a hold on that and have to demand that we get and that women get what we need to protect our health. Can you imagine a situation in which we would have 30 years of HIV and the only tool that's widely available for people to use to protect themselves would be something that only men could use, or only women could use, rather? What if condoms were only for women? Do you think that men would have gone for 30 years without a tool that they can use to protect themselves, without their partner's permission from HIV? No, because men understand that their lives are important. Women get distracted from understanding that our lives are important and our sisters' lives are important. And we have to stop being distracted. We have to focus.
It's beautiful. Thank you for all that you do.
Thank you.
You are a tremendous force for good and keeping women at the forefront of the conversation. It's appreciated.
Well, thank you. And I appreciate the opportunity to work with women like you.